Back when I was living in Daejeon, South Korea, I discovered something surprising. 15 minutes on a motorbike could take you from dense city streets to quiet lakes and mountains. Just east of the city, there was a small coffee shop right beside a lake. It became one of my favorite escape routes. If work finished early or if the weather was good, I'd jump on the bike and be there in minutes. And so this is the Daejeon coffee shop before its huge popularity. I used to joke with friends and call it my coffee shop because most days it felt like I was the only one there. I'd ride out after work, sit for hours, and watch the light change across the lake. The motorbike made places like this possible, but the real journeys began when the road turned west. Getting across the city from where I lived took a little longer before heading into the Chungcheong province. Out there, I started riding with someone who had spent years exploring these roads and getting lost. And so this was Gordon, who lived out west and knew all the best mountain roads winding all the way up to the coast. Gordon's bike had a little more power than mine, a Honda Steed 600cc. Compared to the beast, it could stretch its legs a bit further, but the old girl still held her own, especially when the lights turned green. Now this stretch of road, Route 32, was where the engine really started to sing. And the camera might make it look fast, but I was barely touching 100 kilometers an hour, about 60 miles an hour. Still, when the wind is pushing against your chest and the road starts to open up, it feels like flying. And just to keep things honest, every now and then a car would remind me I wasn't exactly racing. And for anyone that's been paying attention to the other videos, you might recognize Gonzo again. Out here, the mountains shape everything. Road 32 is one of the few roads that cuts west towards the coast. But Gordon wasn't interested in the main road. He was looking for the Junganbong Trail. Not a nickname, not a legend. An actual logging road carved into the side of the mountain. I'd seen the sign for it once before, but I never would have followed it alone. That was Gordon's philosophy as a rider. Not speed, not destinations, but adventure. It was a way to get away from the traffic, leave the highways behind, and follow the road until it disappears. And sometimes that road leads somewhere quite extraordinary. And so even on a hazy day, with the unfortunate company of a bug still smudged across the camera lens, the view that opened up in front of us was something else entirely.
Oh my god, that looks amazing. That is incredible.
And so you can see yellow rice fields stretching across the valley below, ready for harvest. The mountains layered into the distance, and not another person in sight. And as Gordon points to the road back down, I think about exactly where I am. Just an hour earlier, I'd been in the middle of the city. Concrete, traffic, Wi-Fi towers everywhere. And now suddenly, we were here, in the middle of nowhere.
Holy shit. Look at that.
What surprised me most about South Korea wasn't the cities. It was what existed outside of them. Once you left the concrete behind, the forests seemed endless. Riding through them, you could actually smell the landscape changing, the air getting cooler, the trees closing in around the road, and you could feel it especially on the motorbike. And so I learned, in this part of the world there's a phrase for this, forest bathing. The idea that simply being among the trees can change the way you feel. Maybe it was the wind, maybe it was the freedom of the road, but whatever it was, I could definitely feel it. Eventually, the trail dropped down into the valley. Small farm buildings, a single line of power cables, no streetlights, and hardly any sign that we were still in the 21st century. It felt less like leaving the city, and more like stepping back in time. And this was only the beginning. Stick around for the next part of the journey.